I'm grateful for your presence at this 2023 Adoptee Remembrance Day virtual Candlelight Vigil. I'm Beth Syverson. I'm an adoptive parent of a 19-year-old son, Joey, who has struggled with chronic suicidality for the last several years. So the subject of adoptee suicide awareness is very important to me. It was Joey's idea to create Unraveling Adoption podcast in August of 2021. There you can hear his voice, as well as many other adoptees' voices, several of whom are here tonight in our episodes. We have done quite a few episodes specifically about suicide. Joey and I want to help raise awareness on this topic to literally save lives. Adoptee Remembrance Day was created 3 years ago by adoptee Pamela Karanova, founder of Adoptees Connect. Here are Pamela's words about why she created this day. Adoptee Remembrance Day, October 30th, serves several purposes. It raises public awareness of crimes against adoptees by adoptive parents, an action that current media does not recognize. It also allows us to publicly mourn and honor the lives of our brothers and sisters who we have lost, who might otherwise be forgotten. It raises awareness about adoptee suicide, shining a light on a difficult topic. Through these actions, we express love and respect for the adoptee community. Adoptee Remembrance Day gives our allies a chance to step forward with us, memorializing those who have died too soon, and it also recognizes the loss all adopted people experience before they're actually adopted. We also recognize that there are international adoptees who are living without citizenship and or who have been deported due to mistakes by adoptive parents, adoption agencies, attorneys, and ultimately the U.S. adoption system. Lack of citizenship is a tragic and often unacknowledged issue facing the adoptee community. While those who have passed away before us are no longer able to speak and share their stories or voices, there are many adoptees today who are paving the way for the voiceless to become strong enough to share their voices and stories. I so appreciate Pamela's leadership and advocacy with this day. There will be a chance later in the hour for us all to donate to Pamela Karanova's nonprofit organization, Adoptees Connect, in case this vigil spurs you into action. And if you're watching this on video, check the notes below the video for the PDF of the program order. For this event, we will be flowing from one presenter to the next with no introductions. This subject matter we'll be talking about is tragic and heavy-hearted. There's no easy way around that. My heart goes out to all of you who've lost an adoptee you love. Our hearts go out to all of those who will be presenting their personal reflections on this most difficult topic during this vigil. If any of you feel activated emotionally during this event and need to take a break, please take care of yourself however you need to. And this goes for the presenters as well. You might need to step away for a moment, take some deep breaths, or reach out to a friend. And very importantly, if you or a loved one is ever feeling suicidal, please call or text 988, the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. So before we begin, let's get grounded and focused for this solemn journey we're about to embark on together. If you feel comfortable, please put one hand on your heart and the other hand outward toward your camera. In a moment, we will take 3 deep breaths together. The first will be to connect with our own hearts, the second to connect with those present here, and the third to connect with the adoption community around the world. So this first breath is to connect to our own hearts. So breathe in for 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4, 2, 3, 4. And breathe out for 4, 2, 3, 4. And hold for 4, 2. And now take a deep breath to connect with those present here today. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3. And now to connect with the adoption community around the world. Breathe in, 2, 3. Hold, 2, 3. Breathe out, 2, 3. And hold. Thank you. That was beautiful breathing all in unison together. Thank you so much. And now it is time to light our candles. We light these candles to separate this time and space, a sacred space, if you will, to separate. This is not our mundane everyday life. This is a solemn moment together. And so if you have your candle, we'll light it now, and then we will begin our program.
Okay. Well, thank you, Beth, and thank you
Thank
everyone
you.
else for being here. Uh, it is a very solemn day for sure, and just wanted to introduce the video that we're about to watch. This was made back in 2020, the first Adoptee Remembrance Day, and I have not participated in uh, previous Adoptee Remembrance Days. So in a way, this is my return back to partaking in this kind of event. So I thought it was fitting to play this video. In 2018, I wrote a blog that brought attention to many details of my childhood, including the deaths of my 3 adopted siblings, Lark, Town, and Thaddeus. On this day of remembrance, I don't wish to speak about what had transpired between my parents, but rather to the importance of remembering the lives of my siblings and all those who have died by suicide. For them, adoption is death, and for me, I'm filled with their memories. Here is an excerpt from my 2018 blog. Most media sources claim my sister Tam died of heart failure at the age of 21. In fact, Tam struggled with depression for much of her life, a situation exacerbated by my mother refusing to get her help, insisting that Tam was just moody. One afternoon in 2000, after one final fight with Mia, which ended with my mother leaving the house, Tam committed suicide by overdosing on pills. My mother would tell others that the drug overdose was accidental, saying that Tam, who was blind, didn't know which pills she was taking. But Tam had both an ironclad memory and sense of spatial recognition. And of course, blindness didn't impair her ability to count. The details of Tam's overdose and the fight with Mia that precipitated it were relayed directly to me by my brother Thaddeus, a first-hand witness. Tragically, he is no longer able to confirm this account. Just 2 years ago, Thaddeus also committed suicide by shooting himself in his car, less than 10 minutes from my mother's house. My sister Lark was another fatality. She wound up on a path of self-destruction, struggled with addiction, and eventually died in poverty from age-related causes in 2008 at age 35. Today, I would like to honor them by continuing my work as an adoption trauma therapist and advocate for mental well-being and suicide prevention. They motivate and inspire me to raise their voices so their truths can be heard. I'm left with an unanswered question whether they would still be here if only we understood intergenerational patterns, especially when it comes to mental health and trauma. Something we all can do is shed light on generational trauma and the strong impact it has as it's passed from parent to child. Let's break the cycles of trauma and suicide. As we take this day to remember loved ones who are no longer with us, I choose to live, to carry on their memory from one adoptee to another.
I'm Emily. I'm an adoptee from Michigan. This poem I wrote is Out of the Fog. As an adoptee, I feel a second timeline running parallel to my adopted life. Out of the fog, I am suspended in between, knowing my unadopted life didn't exist, though a connection to that identity is truer than what I ever have here. My adoptee affections polarize realities, causing reactions that unjustly inflict pain. I can't seem to touch life. I will never be unadopted. Blood or non-blood, I never fully synchronize with members of either family. Time in the beginning was chaos, and time in the end is lost. Reflection is delirium. I exist here in solitude, perpetually searching for the answers to me. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Christine, and I wrote this poem nearly 14 years ago after my brother's death. He did have 2 suicide attempts in his life, but it was ultimately a heart attack from decades of addiction that took his life. A very important day. It was late at night when the awful call came, the death of my brother, so young, such a shame. As I sat in the room, my mind in a shock, I could only think of time, my eye drawn to a clock. I did not think of minutes, hours, or days. A mental calendar started flipping as I sat in a haze. I stopped on a date over 2 years away. January 7th, 2010 would certainly be a very important day. Danny died in September, 2 months shy of 41. It hardly seems long enough to say his life was done. The months have passed quickly, and the special date is now here, less than a week after celebrating the start of a new year. Today I reached the age my brother did not. 40 years, 10 months, and 2 days on the dot. To everyone else, it is a day like any other. To me, January 7th, the day I outlived my brother. My life has been full, wonderful family and friends, but there's no way I'd be settled if it soon came to an end. There is more I want to do, more fun and love to share, and I'd really love to find the perfect shade to color my hair. I made that last comment purely in jest. To live a good life of faith is my only request. Faith is not only about Jesus, heaven, and God above. It's about looking deep in your own eyes and feeling great love. Sometimes I think of Danny and his problems with health, addiction, unhappiness, stress from an obsession with wealth. His dreams tied to grand goals, almost impossible to measure. Disappointment was frequent, leading to life with little pleasure. I can still learn from Danny, even though he's no longer here, to make the most of my time, to make the most of this year. Healthy mind, body, and spirit are all in my power, but I must put forth the effort, work hard, don't cower. I have lived nearly 15,000 days of my life. The new inspiration will help me be a better friend, mom, and wife. So the truth, January 7th is just one day of the year, but in 364 days, the anniversary will be here. The date of my return to the Lord's side is known only to him. When it's my time, may my heart, soul, and my mind be full, but my body be slim. Rest in peace, my dear brother, as you hang out with mom. May the Lord bless and keep you forever in his palm. Thank you.
My school teacher, 6th grade school teacher. I was running to the bus one day and I ran like smack into her shoulder. And she looked at me, she turned to me and she said, maybe if your eyes were a little wider, maybe you'd be able to see a little better and you wouldn't run into people. I literally felt like everything was kind of in slow motion at that point, and I just couldn't. I remember sitting on the bus on the way home and just thinking to myself, did she say what I think she said? Did she mean it like that? No, she could not have meant it like that. And then, yeah, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Yeah, she meant it like that. I couldn't trust anybody anymore. Nobody was on my side. Nobody understood. And nobody, excuse my language, nobody gave a fuck. I started getting bad. I started acting out a little bit. I had discovered boys and friends. So that was my focus. They made me feel important. I think I just wanted someone to love me. And unfortunately, I found the hard way that I've looked for that in a lot of the wrong places. Or maybe I just ran across a lot of crappy people. I don't know whose fault it is yet, if it's mine or theirs. So then came the therapist, and I think I started cutting on myself. And I wanted to run away. And I don't really know how, if I can't remember anymore, if that's how I ended up in the hospital the first time. But from then on, it was just, she's got attachment disorder. And then they swept that under the rug, and then they said I was bipolar. And then they put me on an antidepressant called Pamelar, and then Prozac. And as we all know of Prozac, from all the lawyers that you see on the commercial ads about suing Prozac, I tried to commit suicide shortly after I started taking the Prozac. I tried to commit suicide 3 times from the time I don't remember if it was 12 or 13 exactly, but up until, 12 to 14. The last time I attempted it, I almost did succeed. I was in intensive care for 2 weeks, and they were worried my kidneys or my heart was going to fail on me. Honestly, I don't know if I took 3 or 4 bottles. I know I took all my Prozac pills, but then my dad had some antidepressants as well. He has post-traumatic stress disorder from the Vietnam War. So I remember taking a lot of his pills too. I don't know what they were called.
Hi, my name is Janelle, adoptive mom, foster mom, interracial adoptee, and I will be reading a poem to remember Landon Malaberti, a 5-year-old boy who died as a result of brutal beatings at the hands of his adoptive parents. It is said that his previous caregivers abused him, and one of the things that made his new mother so angry was that he told his birth grandmother that he loved her. Landon, a little boy. Perhaps you would have grown up to be a fireman, a truck driver, a country western singer, a new restaurateur. You hadn't done much yet to love anything but playing with monster trucks and singing and eating pickles. Had you tried them fried or homemade? Did you know a gherkin from a dill? I wonder. Did you ever know the touch of a loving mother's hand? You were only 5. Your pain, your abuse, your obliterated brain brings me to my knees. I see your photo. You look at the camera out of sideways eyes, uncertain smile that says, you are afraid. You don't trust. And I cannot breathe knowing you are not. Precious Landon, seedling of the future, cut down by hands that should have nurtured you. You will live forever, sheltered in our loving hearts.
I'm going to invite everyone to take a breath together.
Yes.
And just acknowledge everyone's presence here tonight and the really painful memories that folks are sharing and honoring and that we're holding space for. I'm going to do my best to get through this poem, which I have not read out loud before to anyone. Beth is only one of 2 people that have actually read it. but it felt somehow really important to share in this moment tonight, in this space, because I have an older brother who's also adopted that I don't talk a lot about because it's a really complicated part of my experience, and there are some folks in this room who know me pretty well, and who know a lot more of my story than others, but he struggles significantly with mental health issues and some things that have gone largely unhelped, and has also tried to commit suicide a couple of times over the years. So this is a letter to my brother, the brother I used to know when we were small and the world was the size of our backyard. The brother I wanted to know, tried to know, at times begged to know, because I wanted to know myself. This is a letter to my brother. The brother I never knew. The brother who left to give himself to a war that was and wasn't his own. The brother who got left behind in Kuwait, Afghanistan, the backyard. The backyard we used to play in, the sand of the desert mixing with the sand of our sandbox, memories deserted, distorted by the heat of the battle he never left behind. The battle in your mind that didn't start in that desert where you went to escape your demons only to find worse ones. This is a letter to my brother. The brother whose anger is bigger than he is able to contain. The brother whose face does not look like mine. The brother who can't see beyond his pain. This is a letter to my brother who I have loved. My brother who never understood the little girl inside of me who was hurting the same way the little boy inside of you was and still is. This is a letter to my brother who I don't know anymore. My brother who is on the other side of a chasm I can't cross. My brother. My brother. My brother. My other loss.
Lorraine Dusky, now unmuted. My daughter's death was not unexpected. In fact, it felt preordained. She had tried to kill herself so many times before. She had her stomach pumped more times than I know. She had been in and out of hospitals and halfway houses. She had always made the sly comment, live fast, die young, be a good-looking corpse, a kind of jokey mantra. I knew she was only half joking. So when the call came around midnight in mid-December, my first thought was, she finally did it. She is at peace now. She was 41 years old. Those words to me are not cold and heartless, for my daughter's life was one of constant struggle to stay above the demons that haunted her. Abandonment/adoption issues, epilepsy, sexual abuse by a grandmother's partner, and lastly, severe PMS as I had myself. Medically, it's called PMDD. You can look up the medical terms. And she killed herself during one of those bouts. I know how crazy that can make you, as I myself had thought about suicide periodically for years. I'm telling you all this today because we who knew her understood how difficult her emotional life was, and at 41, it felt as if it was never going to get better. Jane, that's her name, was happily married to a good man. She had a bright, healthy teenager in high school. She herself had graduated with honors from a 2-year college and had been encouraged to get her 4-year degree. Yet the drugs she took for epilepsy fogged her brain when it came to detail. She was never able to keep a job equal to her intelligence, and she knew it. Epilepsy began constricting her life from the time she was 5. Her adoptive mother was in the hospital at the time, giving birth to her firstborn when Jane had her first seizure. I make no claim that this was the cause, but stress can trigger seizures. At 5, did she fully begin to realize that she came into the family not through birth but adoption? That there was another family somewhere out there? Jane's seizures came often and frequently ended with hospitalization, so often that she came to see being in the hospital as a kind of respite from dealing from the world outside where she keenly felt like a misfit. Not only was she given up for adoption, I'm saying it that way because that is the way adoptees experienced it first. They were given up before they were adopted. Not only was she given up, she was damaged. Maybe that's why she was given up. What was worse in her life? Being given up or having seizures. Jane always said it was the epilepsy. In the 2nd grade, she was wearing a hockey helmet to school because the seizures made her fall down so often. The big boys came along and wrapped their knuckles on her helmet. When she was 12, sexual abuse by the live-in partner of an adoptive grandmother began, but she kept it secret until her last year of high school, when incest and familial sexual abuse was in the air. Her adoptive parents didn't fully believe her for years. I did, though she never confided in me before she told everyone. As the years went by, her moods during her premenstrual period were more than she could bear. Several suicide attempts followed, and eventually she found a foolproof way to end it all. She grew up in Wisconsin. Her husband is a hunter, and one day when he was at work, she broke the lock to his gun cabinet and took a pistol. At her wake, her adoptive mother and I stood together in front of her casket. She said, "I know you loved her." And then she added, speaking of our daughter, "She is at peace at last." They were my thoughts exactly. My daughter, strong and weak, smart and bewildered, funny, ironic, tough on the outside, was at peace at last. May she rest that way, and in the next lifetime, if there be such a life, may hers be all of lightness and joy. She carried enough pain in this lifetime for several. Be at peace, my baby, be at peace. I carry you in my heart.
Ungrateful. Who taught you how to hate this way? You taught me how to walk, I guess, since I no longer crawl. You taught me what not to touch. I've seen the reels where you laugh and slap my hands away. You taught me what to say and shamed me when I didn't believe the same. You taught me the importance of honesty, enforced isolation as a consequence of my imagination sat me in a box with a pedophile in a frock so I could recite so many Hail Marys. You taught me how to deny, to smile while crying inside, to apologize when the offenses weren't mine. You taught me how to hate this way. You taught me how to drink, how to mime sobriety, to give myself away. You taught me how to hate this way. You taught me not to trust my feelings. You taught me to be small. You weren't thinking of my best interests at all. I was a sop for your sadness, a prop in your infertile madness, a way to paint yourself in sunshine. The hospital called you, but my suicide attempt did not align with your fantasy of who you needed me to be. You taught me how to hate this way. You taught me how to hate this way, to revile you for the manner in which you made me hate my voice, my body, my face, my flawed reflection. You taught me how to hate this way, how to yearn for what you stole from me, how to abide where I did not care to be, how to walk in invisibility. You taught me how to hate this way.
Listening to all these beautiful words, I am struck by our collective desire to prevent pain and suffering for not only our family members who are adopted, but also ourselves. I'm sure we all know what it feels like to feel alone in this. This is why I made a film. It was for my family members who are adopted and dealing with addiction. And what really started it in motion was hearing my mom say she was planning my brother's funeral. So luckily that didn't happen. And but the film did. So this is the trailer.
No, the word primal means from the very beginning. The connection between a child and the biological mother appears to be primal, mystical, mysterious, and everlasting. It can no longer be assumed that one can replace the biological mother with another primary caregiver without the child being both aware of the situation and the substitution and traumatized by it. And and our society has not been very good about allowing anybody to think about it.
What box?
Okay, here's a question. Should a child never be adopted?
This is called Why I Write Poetry. A couple of references. One to the Bass Strait. That's the water distance between the mainland of Australia and Tasmania. Just have a bit of context. So why I write poetry? Because of 3 a.m. questions that storm through my mind, attempting to find the truth or a picture of it. Because of the Bass Strait and its crooked distance. Because of dropped phone calls and returned letters. Because of custard tarts and many false starts, because of rabbit-shaped Easter biscuits, because of what was told, because of what was shared and what was taken, because of institutions filled with children, innocent and alone. Because we are running out of time, because it is right or die, because of bent and broken backs, because of Bushy Park Cemetery and what is buried there, because of paranoid people in positions of power, because of David, because of Jeff, because they are gone. I found that poetry can bypass a lot of the intellectual barriers that we have, and it can do something that nothing else can. And that's why I write poetry.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mimi Janes. I am a first birth mother, although I only think of myself as a mother. I lost my daughter, Saray Barnes, to adoption in 1971, and I lost her a second time on May 1st, 2017. My daughter died by suicide. I'm going to try really hard to get through this. Today, I would like to share this poem. This is a poem written by Beth Brown, who published a book of poems about the suicide of her son called Bury My Heart, Poems About Losing a Child to Suicide. The poem is called What Will Become of My Mother? And this is an author's note. What Will Become of My Mother is a poem born from my response to reading a quote by Oscar Wilde. For the question often arrives, For the question often arrives a terribly long time after the answer. The poem is my reflection of what might have been my son's suicidal mindset. I'm sorry, I'm like freaking out here. Dylan didn't stay long enough to ask the questions. This poem is to be read as a call and response to where the answer appears before the question. What will become of my mother? Answer of a suicidal mindset. I shall die. The question asked too late. What will become of my mother? Answer of a suicidal mindset. I shan't be missed. The question asked too late. What will my death do to those who love and know me? Answer of a suicidal mindset. I can't go on and therefore must die. The question asked too late. Can someone help me sort things out? Is there someone I can talk to? Answer of a suicidal mindset. I'm exhausted by living and I can't make my way. I'm of no good to anyone, even myself. Life is meaningless. The question asked too late. Is life always this painful? How can I make my way in this life? Should I travel, change cities, change residences to get a fresh start? Answer to a suicidal mindset. I can't change anything. The question asked too late. Can't I just hold on? Doesn't life always change? If I can't change it, I can't see I'm crying. Can I learn to accept life on life's terms? Answer to a suicidal mindset. No one loves me. The question asked too late. Am I expecting too much from someone? Am I going to the wrong person? If I can't get a hold of the friend, I'll call someone else. Answer to a suicidal mindset. No one will miss me. Everyone misses you, Soraya. Most of all, me. Answer of a suicidal mindset. Life is so dark. Only without you, my child. Only without you. It's my hope that these words will help anyone else who may be considering leaving this life by asking themselves these questions before they take that final action. Thank you.
Hi, it's Rich Sherlock. Thank you, Mimi, so much for that touching and moving poem. And the pain is just palpable. And I honor you for all you've endured. I'm also honored to be asked to be part of this. And Beth, I think, will be playing a song called Dying to Know from a musical I've written called For the Records. And this is in a special way in honor of people who have not been told the truth, people who have learned of their adoption in a traumatic way, and people who, sadly, as a member of the adoption reform community for a number of years, people who come into our community seeking support and friendship and instead find abuse and denigration that further harm them. And in a special way, I want to honor Kevin, who took his life during COVID and was found after he had died online. Found online by a sister who found him just 3 weeks after he had passed away. And they learned that he had lived blocks from his mother for years. Go ahead, Beth, whenever you're ready. This song is called Dying to Know.
They told me I was chosen just like Moses. They fed and clothed and bathed me in their love. And though this family has different noses. They tell me this was planned by God above. But now I hear there is another mother who loved so much she gave her son away. Could I have a sister? Or a brother? Who can I trust? My world has changed today. What does she look like? Is she okay? Would she remember me if we met today? After she gave me up, where did she go? Someone please tell me. I'm dying to know. My teacher wonders why I can't stop crying. My dad says mow the lawn, go shovel snow. My friends all think calling mom is lying. My mother says that I will never know. I cannot find good words though I am trying to find out why my first mom had to go. If this is mother's love, I feel like dying. Don't ask me to explain, I just need to know. What does she look like? Is she okay? Each year on my birthday, what does she say? If she came to take me home, would I want to go? These are the questions I'm dying to know.
Why must one mother's love be enough when one is true and one a fantasy? Lies and silence make not knowing tough. If somewhere out there someone looks like me,
someday I'll find her. I don't know how.
I don't know how.
I'll search every face I meet. Silent for now.
Silent for now.
What will it cost me?
What will it cost?
So far to go.
So far to go.
While inside I'm dying. I'm dying to know. I'm dying to know.
You're dying to know.
I'm dying to know.
You're dying to. You're dying to. You're dying to know.
I'm dying to know.
Hi everyone, my name is Peter Capamola Moore. I'm a late discovery adoptee. I'm a Kamilaroi Aboriginal man, proud Kamilaroi Aboriginal man. Also of Italian heritage. I'm honoured to be here. It's my first time in this forum on the 30th of October. Brings up a lot of memories of my own survival. I was a late discovery adoptee. I didn't find out of my adoption until age of 59. But there was many times in my life when I didn't think I was going to survive, and suicide was a plan B. And it was the plan I went to when things triggered me, and I didn't understand why I was lonely and why I didn't feel I could be loved or deserved to be loved. And I realised in reflection that my survival enabled me to experience so many things that I would not have experienced. You know, the birth of my children, my grandchildren. Coming up this weekend is my youngest son, or my only son's wedding. There's so much in life to look forward to. And that's all I can say on that. I want to read your poem, and I gave Beth a number of my poems, and I hesitated to give her this one. It's never been shared before publicly, and only a very few people have ever seen or heard it. And it was written a little bit of tongue in cheek, but of course there's so much seriousness in it. And these are not all my experiences in this poem, but they're experiences of many adoptees that I've talked with or listened to over the years. And but a lot of these were my experiences. My poems: be grateful you weren't adopted. Be grateful your name was not stolen. Be grateful your life was not a pantomime. Be grateful you did not act it out every single day. Be grateful you did not suffer abuse. Be grateful you know who you really are. Be grateful you were not told you were special. Be grateful you truly belonged. Be grateful that you were not lonely. Be grateful that rejection did not permeate your life. Be grateful you had loving parents who did not lie. Be grateful that suicide was not your shadow. Be grateful that you had a wonderful life. Be grateful you weren't adopted. Be grateful that this poem has come to an end.
Hello. I'm a birth mother who lost my son to adoption in 1967 and then lost him a second and final time in 2021. I wrote him a letter on the second anniversary of his death. Dear Ray, I'm sitting here looking at the beautiful cast of our hands intertwined, and immediately I am back in time, sitting there holding your hand in mine. And I recall thinking, this is so special. Finally, I'm holding my son's hand. And when you surprised me with this beautiful gift, it meant the world to me, but never did I dream how important this would become. Leaving you 56 years ago was one of the most difficult times in my life. I thought I would never get over a nurse forcing you from my arms. I was not allowed to mourn you. No one would talk to me. No one would let me cry or say your name. You were a secret. When you contacted me 49 years later, our worlds collided and exploded in brilliant technicolor. Remember? I simultaneously cried, yet would not get the smile off my face for months. A miracle had taken place and made me the happiest of mothers. I wanted to shout to the world, my son has found me, and I did. When I first heard your voice, I knew it. The hug with you felt so right, so natural. We were never strangers to each other because you were part of me and always had been. That first conversation, I tearfully told you to please forgive me and not hate me for leaving you. You told me you had never hated me, and there was no reason to ask for forgiveness. Your words were balm for my scars that I carried. I wanted our conversation to last for hours, and it did. You told me you were proud of all you had achieved in your life. Your love for your 3 remarkable children was intense and a beautiful thing to behold. Remember how surprised we were that we shared so many similarities, how we talked for hours and how you made me laugh out loud? When you first came here to visit, the joy I felt at having all my children together was mind-blowing. For once, I knew where all of you were when I fell asleep at night. Watching you laugh and connect with your new brothers warmed my heart. Your friendship and respect for my husband was icing on the cake. 2,000 miles could not break the bond we quickly forged. During our frequent visits, our hearts seemed to expand and resulted in some of the most beautiful memories of my life. I will forever be grateful for the short 4.5 years we had together, Ray. They were complete magic. Those years were the gift I had longed for, and I pinched myself, hoping our time together would last forever. It was so good. It was so real. And you felt the same. Now, Ray, I'm facing a time even more unbearable because I have lost you a second and final time. When you were wrenched from my arms, leaving my heart shredded that first time, felt alone, betrayed, and I thought I would never survive. But Ray, the second tragic story of your death has crippled me. I will never be the same. Day before you died, during our last phone call, you said I was the very best thing that ever happened to you. And that has replayed in my thoughts each day for 2 years. And so has the phone call from your 23-year-old son, my beloved grandson, telling me you were gone. We sobbed together, bonding us in the worst possible way. Both memories still bring me to my knees. Why? Why? I howled. I didn't know a human being could cry that many tears, and my eyes have never been the same. But do you want to know what is the worst part of this? It is the abject sorrow I feel that you were terribly depressed and felt so alone without me knowing it. That's the worst. That you felt like life wasn't worth living. Did you not know how much I loved you? I would have been there for you no matter what. And oh, my son, I will always regret that I wasn't there that day. I knew how deeply I was wounded over losing you, and leaving you 54 years before you took your life. But I had no idea how traumatized you were. Your hurt was overwhelming, and how could I have not known? Ray, I will forever remember you with positive, unconditional, and never-ending love, because you live inside my heart and my soul, as you always have. It is heartbreaking to think you must not have known how many of us loved you. Each night, I look up at the stars and I talk to you. And this I know, missing you for 50 years was hard, so hard. But missing you after having you in my life is shattering. If I could only hold you once more, my son, I would never let you go. For now, though, I will hold you close in my heart, a place you've always lived. You have my love forever, Mom.
Thank you to all who shared. We have just a few more pieces left, but at this time, I wanted to pause and offer us all an opportunity to do something tangible to help adoptees. Pamela Karanova, who created Adoptee Remembrance Day in 2020, is also the creator of Adoptees Connect, a nonprofit organization that coordinates peer-led, adoptee-centric, in-person groups for adult adoptees around the world. If what you've heard tonight makes you want to make a difference for adoptees, I invite you to donate to Adoptees Connect. We will pause a moment here so any of you who are financially able can go to adopteesconnect.com right now, scroll down to the bottom of the page and click the donate button. While you're doing that, I will play a recording of my son Joey's song called Worth It. He wrote and produced this song in 2020 after one of the lowest points in his journey. So please be as generous as you can in your support for Adoptees Connect.
Looking down staring at the street, never looking up at hope when I mope. When I take the time to think, I geek, never losing sight that I might end it all tonight. In spite the love I feel tonight, shimmer my eyes of the fact I tried. No one understands my pain, feeling all alone inside. Might as well suicide, nothing feels alright. Feels alright. Doing all the drugs to numb out, speaking in tongues do not out. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Can I come out of this pain manifesting inside me? Someone come find me. Someone came and found me. Out of this ditch I found me. Family and friends stood by me. Now I see the light inside me. Thank God for the light, now I never feel the fright. Looking down, staring at the street, never looking up at hope when I mope. When I take the time to think, I geek, never losing sight that I might end it all tonight. In spite the love I feel tonight, shimmer my eyes of the fact I tried. No one understands my pain, feeling all alone inside. Might as well suicide, nothing feels alright. Feels alright.
Again, I would just invite everyone to take a collective breath. This next little poem, and it's a little poem, is much more hopeful. And as I watched the last slide, and all of those words were sort of really starkly presented in that specific rhetorical choice of the index cards and the Sharpie, and there were names of people that I recognize, people that I actually know quite well, people that have been a big part of my journey. It makes me think about this journey. And so this poem that I'm going to share is something I wrote actually in 2020, and then it's published in my book that was just published a couple of months ago in June. And yeah, and it has come up a couple of times. Michael mentioned the reason why he writes poetry, and I think the reason why so many of us write poetry without not realizing, or we do realize on some deeper cellular level, but that there's healing in this. And so I just want to mention that, and those of you that do know me and the work that I do, a big part of my work is about using poetry and writing as a tool for healing and helping our community to process the really deeply held grief that we're witnessing tonight. And so keep writing, keep sharing. Just the fact that we came together tonight to speak these words into the space we've created together is healing. So thank you. I am parts of a whole, wholly partitioned into pieces, puzzling to myself as I struggle to break free, to understand, to heal. Wholeness feels holy to me, a way to sanctify, solidify, and seal my parts into place. No longer at war with myself, I am open to peace, practicing patience, pouring love into myself and others. No longer afraid of what I can't see. The dark has its companion in light. Both can exist together. Sometimes shadows show depth, contouring the colors of experience that illuminate the spaces in between, blending fear with hope, holding space for growth. The child is no longer alone. She has you.
So our candles have been flickering through this hour's vigil. The delicate and ever-moving flame reminds us of our fleeting lives here on earth and memorializes those adoptees who were taken from us much too soon. Let's now take a moment of silence to contemplate all that we've heard in this hour and to remember those we have personally lost. You may close your eyes, or you may want to watch the flame of your candle instead, and I will count for a minute. So in addition to representing the souls we've lost, the candle's flame also lights our path forward, because we must move forward. We have much work to do to prevent more loss of life, to change adoption practices, and to help adoptees thrive. Here's your reminder to be extra gentle with yourselves and to nurture the adoptees in your lives. And please remember, if anyone is ever struggling with suicidal thoughts, don't hesitate to call 988, the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. And reach out to those of us in the adoption community if you're hurting. Every single one of you matters. We need you here. You are not a burden, and we love you. And now to end our vigil, in a moment, we're all going to silently raise our lit candles to the camera for about 30 seconds. So if you're here live with me on Zoom, if you're willing, you can switch on your camera, and you would want to switch your view to gallery view so you can see all the beautiful flames coming together. Because together we shine brighter. Let's mingle our lights together in solidarity, in remembrance, and in hope. Thank you so much. In closing, I want to express my deepest gratitude for the 17 adoptees and birth parents who participated in this event, and also to all of you who attended and for making your heart open for these difficult realities. And I also want to thank Pamela Karanova, who created this annual event of Adoptee Remembrance Day. Let's all honor those who've passed by pouring ourselves into fiercely supporting adopted people with compassion and effective advocacy. Now, if anyone is needing extra mental health support now or at any time in the future, I invite you to find a practitioner who works with the adoption constellation. I recently created a database called Healing the Adoption Constellation. It's at unravelingadoption.com/healing. There are many people available who are adoption competent, trauma informed, and wanting to help others touched by adoption. So please reach out. When my son Joey and I first started our podcast 2 years ago, we were trying to figure out how to end the first episode. Joey thought of the idea of saying stay safe together. What we're saying quite literally when we say stay safe is please stay alive. Do whatever is necessary to keep yourself safe. Each episode has ended that way, and each guest has said it with us in unison. So at this time, to honor Joey's intention and to encourage us all to take good care of our own mental health, I would invite you all to unmute yourselves, and on the count of 3, we'll all say, stay safe together. 1, 2, 3.
Stay
Stay
safe.
safe.